Shake, shake it, baby. Shake, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake, shake it, mama. Shake it, Cali.
Shake it, Cali.
Shake, shake it, baby.
That's right.
Shake, shake it, shake, shake it, mama. Shake it, Cali.
That's right.
In the city of Compton, we keep it rockin', keep it rockin'.
Let me make it shake, come on.
Shake, shake it, baby. Shake, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake, shake it, mama. Shake it, Cali. Shake it, Cali. Shake, shake it, baby.
That's right.
Shake, shake it, shake, shake it, mama. Shake it, Cali.
Good change of direction by Bryant. Slammed up. Woo!
Welcome to the Kobe Bryant Film Room, and I wanted to do a reaction to Wilt Chamberlain archives, and he was going over Oscar Robertson and Jerry West as far as what made them so special. What about their games made them special players that could play in pretty much any era, right? And I think a lot of times with the media and basketball analysis, what gets lost is the difference between eras, the rules. I don't think a lot of people understand when they're trying to bring analytics into the game, right? And analytics cannot measure certain things. Like it can't measure physicality, it can't measure defense, a player, exhausting effort on defense. It can't measure emotions. Can't measure rhythm, timing of the game. So it just can't measure will, heart, desire. And I think when we look back, we a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people grade these guys against what they try to judge the modern day NBA standards, right? In a more free-flowing game. Right? Back then it was more of a basketball purist game, right? And to me, back then was the most purest form of basketball, right? And I'm not saying it's better, but I'm saying like as far as the rules, right? Guys had to play textbook basketball, which is very difficult to play under these rules. So we're gonna let Wilt Chamberlain archive, I forgot his name. Excuse me if that I can't remember your name, but I'm gonna call him Wilt Chamberlain archive for the sake of this video. He mentioned it in the last video reaction I did. I don't know why. Sometimes I'll be forgetting people's names, but anyways, he's gonna give his input on this, and then I'm gonna come and give my commentary. So without further ado, let's get it.
Today, we're going to be doing a video on Oscar Robertson and Jerry West.
First shot. Pretty quick too. Quick pass. Uh-oh. Half court. R.I.P. to Jerry West, man. The logo. If you guys didn't know. Legendary one dribble. Oh, got it. Oh, that was sexy.
I'm going to talk about how
we gotta go back. You know how I do. One dribble. Oh, got it. Head fake. Cash. This man is who you could tell Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and a lot of guys in this modern era pattern their game after. And even if they don't know that that they patterned their game after Jerry West? They did. Because a lot of this you can see in the modern era.
I'm going to talk about how they played and how they made their impact on the NBA, and add a little bit of context as to what that means for basketball history as it pertains to their era, how we might be viewing them as far as basketball history goes, and some important context pieces when you watch game tape of theirs. And by the way, my name is Dan. I run...
Dan. There we go. Dan. There we go. 3 letters. I'm going to remember that. 3 letters. Dan. But anyway, subscribe to Dan at the Wilt Chamberlain Archive. You're an NBA historian. He's doing a great job.
Wilt Chamberlain Archive. I've been running it for 15 years. I started a different format with a number of my more recent videos that you guys have noticed.
Love
where
your
I'm on
format
camera,
too, Dan.
I'm talking, that gives me more creative control. So I'm going to keep that going, and I'm going to try to just share bits and pieces of what's in my archive, and hopefully add a little bit of clarity and show some rare or fun footage for you guys of some great basketball, great professional basketball that was going on in the 1960s, or maybe even the 1950s, as well as 1970s. I kind of cover pre-merger NBA basketball. That's kind of what I enjoy collecting the most.
But you know what, Dan? You're doing the Lord's work, because there's not too many people talking about that era. I think it's just you, to be honest with you. Now that I think about it, you maybe like a 2 Raw for TV. He kind of, but he doesn't touch on it. Like, he doesn't have his whole channel dedicated to it like you, but he touches on it a little bit. But I think these guys should be talked about more, for educational purposes. I mean, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, these guys today are better or whatever. That's not the point. The point is to get your education and to understand the game if you love the game, right? Like a lot of us do.
Or due to its rarity. So speaking of rarity, that's the first piece of context that I think is important when we watch Oscar Robertson or Jerry West play basketball. I did a quick estimation.
Let me get one of them alcohol bottles you have back there, man. Let me get that. I didn't go to the ABC store yet.
Of all of the sources of 1960s basketball footage that I have at my fingertips, which is one of the largest private collections around. There may be a few people with a few more of this and that, but I probably have some things that they don't have. I would think I'm one of the larger private collections of historical basketball footage that goes that far back. And if I take full game tape or substantial amounts of game tape, as well as all of the mixed documentary footage, newsreels, etc., I come up with a minutes count, and then I can use total number of minutes played back then, of all games played, and I can come up with a calculation that basically is 0.5% of all basketball, pro basketball that ever happened in that era exists on film.
Wow.
So less than 1% of all basketball events and minutes.
Not that much.
Live minutes. Less than 0.5% exists on tape. And if you go by game broadcasts, where you can watch a game broadcast from start to finish, the number is even less. It's like 0.07%.
Could you guys imagine, right? Could you guys imagine if they only had 1% of our games today, or games that we watched growing up? Shit.
Of actual game broadcasts where you have audio mixed with video.
These guys get
in a
shortchanged
broadcast
real
format.
history.
A possibility that Bob Cousy may be able to come back.
Mostly what exists is film, and it's mostly silent film, and it's mostly black and white silent film. And the qualities are usually not like original quality. It's like second or third generation. So one of the problems that comes from footage being that scarce is that people, especially the last 30, maybe even the last 40 years, people are accustomed to being able to see highlights of their favorite players. Mm-hmm. From the Michael Jordan era all the way up, especially into the YouTube age. Popular players from the 90s and then everybody that played from the mid 2000s and up, you can comb through so much footage, and a fan of theirs or a good video editor can create highlight reels that are long and thorough and can truly capture some of the greatest moments of those players' careers.
Somebody like me, if you guys don't check out my shorts, if you guys haven't checked out my shorts, check out my shorts, man. I enjoy a lot of the rare Kobe content. I posted for you guys who never watched it, or maybe you watched it but didn't see some of the things that I seen, right? Some of the games that I've watched. So he's right, man. These guys didn't get the luxury of having a fan kind of keep their memory alive by playing rare clips of them and things like that. So he's up to the task. He's digging. He's trying to find this footage as much as he can and putting it out there.
So you really see, for lack of a better way of putting it, the cream that has risen to the top. You can see, Shaq's top 20 most dominant plays.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be, it's the most jaw-dropping moments from his career.
And violent.
When we have less than 1% of an entire era, of an entire decade on film,
Damn, that's sad.
that means in the 1960s, the first thing that people always complain about is no 100-point game, and they think it didn't happen. And then they see the random clips that do exist, and they're like, they have this, but they don't have the 100-point game. They're missing 99.5% of any.
So you assholes out there, stop saying Wilt didn't have the 100-point game. It's recorded. It's not on photo, right? It's not on video, but it's recorded, right? LeBron, you're supposed to be an ambassador to the game of basketball. Stop saying that stupid shit that Wilt didn't score 100. Anybody who's saying Wilt doesn't score 100 needs to really understand that a lot of these moments weren't caught on video. But they were recorded. There was people there. There was historians there. The 100-point, as far as we know, happened, right? This is the same thing. Like, how do you know your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents exist? Well, they may have like, you might not have film of them or video or photos of them, but you do have family heirlooms that they brought or stories about them, right? And those stories mean something. Now, it's not direct evidence, but the stories mean something, right? And that's all you got to go off of. So until they prove it didn't happen, it happened. So respect that.
Thing that ever happened on that era. The best games that Oscar played in and the best games that Jerry played in do not exist. So, for example, Jerry had a 63-point game. Jerry had a 24 rebound game once.
Damn, I would love
and a
to see
23
that.
assist game. Oscar had a 56-point game, a 22 rebound, and a 22 assist game.
22 rebounds.
None of these
Great.
games exist on film. Not one. In fact, I would argue that not one of his worst games exists on film. I don't think we have full game tape of Oscar Robertson in the entire 1960s decade.
That's
There's
the
a
best.
few
That's his best
sort
in the
of
league.
full games of his from the early 1970s. He
Yeah,
was
that's
already in
older.
his 30s at
Yeah,
that point,
that's
and he's
older.
not putting up the same kind of numbers that he was when he was younger. And then one other piece of context. Oscar and Jerry are the top two guards of that era. And because that era is so scarce with footage, I'll also mention that it's like a 0.5% of that era that exists on tape, but it's heavily biased towards the most dominant or most effective teams and players from that era. We're going to see mostly 76ers Wilt footage and Warriors footage.
Well, let me read that, Dan. Let me read this for the audience real quick. This is the #1 reason why people think that only those top 5 players were any good back then. There's just too few sources to get a satisfying amount of highlight material from the other players. All NBA players at that time were way better than most people realize and worth appreciating back then, not just the top guys. I agree.
We're going to see mostly Boston Celtics footage And we're going to see mostly Lakers and Cincinnati Royals footage. So there are entire great players that weren't quite as great as like Oscar or Jerry. We have almost no footage of, like Dave Bing, for example. Awesome guard from that era, super athletic, super quick. We have awesome ball handling guards from that era that don't play like Jerry and Oscar, and I'll say
that's
into
difficult
that.
to do
And
under
we
those
just don't
rules,
have we just don't have the footage. So everybody has this mentality like that's how people played basketball back then. But that's how Jerry and Oscar played. Other guards played differently, with some overlap, but they added their own flair to the game. So, anyways, here's Oscar.
And Oscar was a terrific,
It's starting with Elgin Baylor, a contemporary of his, played for.
I love Elgin Baylor, man. Damn. I remember watching a little bit of Elgin growing up. We used to do a lot of research at our school, and I would always, like just projects and stuff, I would always pick some of the basketball players or either baseball players. I did a book report on Satchel Paige. Who else did I do one on? Jackie Robinson. I did Elgin, I did Will Elgin and Oscar. Yeah, I used to do book reports on those dudes, bro.
Alongside Jerry West on the Lakers, he's describing how Oscar was in his eyes.
Player too, and Oscar, would have the advantage because of his size. Oscar, could have played football. I mean, he's a big, strong guy.
A couple of.
So he mentions the most obvious thing that gave Oscar an advantage in his era. That it should be known in the modern, as we look at the game through our modern lens, the thing that set Oscar apart is that he was about 6'5" barefoot. I have a photograph where he's not in his shoes and he's being measured, and he's 6'4" 3/4. That's the same height barefoot, approximately, as Kobe or Michael Jordan. Those guys listed at 6'6". So Oscar, when you think about it, he should have listed, if he played in those eras, he would have listed 6'6". The reason he listed 6'5" is they tended to be more honest about your barefoot height and go off of that. Basically, he's the same biological height as Kobe or Michael Jordan, except without lifting weights, he was 220 pounds. Very wide body player, very powerful player. For comparison, Kobe and Michael Jordan entered the league, they were under 200 pounds. I think when they bulked up, I think Michael Jordan bulked up to like 218. So he got close to Oscar's bulk.
Yeah, I think the most Kobe was like 230. I think that was like 2005 where Kobe bulked up. But I think it was a little too big. I mean, he was playing good at that weight, but maybe like for health reasons, he had to slim it back down a little bit.
But again, without lifting weights, that was Michael Jordan on the weightlifting program. Without lifting weights, Oscar was naturally 220. So very powerful guard. And I'm sure his weight fluctuated a little bit, plus or minus. So
would have the advantage because of his size. Oscar, could have played football. I mean, he's a big, strong guy.
A couple of point guards that weren't too shabby. My colleague who also had an award created.
Crossover.
That's Bob Cousy talking, by the way. He's going to talk about, he thinks Oscar's one of the better players, but notice the crossover that Oscar does in these clips here.
That crossover was nasty. He shifted
And
him.
you can do a crossover back then, but you have to keep your fingertips on top of the ball. Very strict ball handling rules. I touched on that in prior videos. And again, imagine this guy is 6'6", 220. So he's the size of some small forwards in this league. And he handles the ball. He's the point guard. He's not even the two guard. He's the point guard. Although I should get into, people were positionless back then too, kind of like today. I don't even know that they really used point guard, shooting guard back then. You were a guard, or you were a forward, or you were a center. I think that's really how they played it. But we'll keep watching here.
My colleague who also had an award created, a guy named Oscar Robertson,
good finisher
who was
off balance.
pound for pound the best.
good pull.
That shot's over Bill Russell, and he's in the paint. He's near the key. He's near the paint. And
notice how a lot of these shots are like baseline shots. Because it was like damn near impossible to finish in the lane.
I guess I'm showing shots like that. Oscar really understood the timing on his shot, and he understood the game of inches. Where does Bill Russell have to be where he can touch the shot or not touch the shot? In other words, Oscar's not a player that gets his shot blocked very often. He's very aware of who's on the floor, where they're at, and are they past the line in the sand where they're an actual threat defensively or not. Bill Russell has talked about this. Bill Russell has talked about Oscar is the smartest player he played against and understood that game of inches.
So Dan, I would like to, if you ever come across this video, I would actually like if you would interview Oscar. I think that'd be cool if you would interview him or one of these guys that you do film on, because that'd be great, man. Just to get their take on the footage and what they were thinking at the time. That'd be awesome.
Player, perhaps in the game.
Ball in the hand, about waist time. He turns right hand, look at that. Big hook. Hey! Right to Oscar. Look ahead and right. Look back and left. He goes to the
Good pass.
He laid it in. Oscar Robertson.
Crossover. He liked that little.
Nice pass over that.
He liked that little right to left.
Fakes left, goes right. Fakes right, goes left.
Baseline. Cash.
And I'm going to go back for a second. and
Look how
just show.
congested the paint is.
This is Oscar's spot.
He has no
Right
choice.
here. He tries to get here all the time. And
There's
it doesn't
no
matter if
room.
a double comes or whatever. His shot is very far over the top.
Yeah,
of
you
his
gotta
head.
practice
You'll see that in
that. There's
other
no room
clips
for
where
anything,
I show
like
him up
anything
close. And
else.
he's very good at, like, he can stop. He's so strong. He's very stable. He always has a stable, on-balance base. And he has an unorthodox shooting form where it's way over the top of his head. And that same spot, other side. Those are his spots.
He's
Nice.
tall too, so you gotta
Nice pass. Slid the needle.
jump.
Fake this way. Spin back around.
Baseline fake.
Hits his jumper over going either
Yeah,
direction.
he's just shooting right in people's face. Oh shit. Kind of like Kobe a little bit, shooting right in people's face.
Great at attacking the basket. Argue with my opinion. Nonchalant with his jump shot. Very nonchalant. He's never under duress. That's another attribute of Oscar Robertson. He's almost never under duress.
I actually think you would dominate Michael.
Great outlet
I
pass.
think there's one person that should be in those matchups that you just
Pass.
described that
Lead
would
pass.
have whipped every.
One thing I noticed that's interesting, there's no
Great
three-point
lead
line in this era. Oscar Robertson is very comfortable initiating the offense from just about anywhere. He's naturally throwing outlet passes,
Yeah, good chest.
and they're not
pass.
like baseball
Or chest
passes.
pass.
He just recognizes when, like at all times, when
That's
somebody's
awesome.
got a head turned. So here, Bellamy's not looking at him, so he just launches it to Kareem. And right here,
It's over the head.
he's
too.
not going to pull up to shoot it.
Over the
And
head
he's not
pass.
really getting pressed hard enough that he needs to stop his dribble. But he recognizes
make
right
every
here,
pass.
head turned. So Oscar just goes,
Yeah, he can make every pass.
Pop.
It's good. Yeah.
everybody's got their head turned,
Sus.
makes the right play,
Leads them right
initiates
to
the
the
offense.
rack.
We would see this more often in today's game. It would be like a high pick and roll starting up here, and Oscar would have polished his deep shooting so that he's like a triple threat from out here. But he initiates super high offense and doesn't even need to do it based on a jump shot. He's just always aware of where everybody on defense,
Yeah, all
where they're
five
looking,
men
and
gotta be
he's-
alert.
He's really great at picking his moments, and the game it makes the game look like it comes natural to him. Oscar is not flashy. He doesn't dribble between the legs. He doesn't do a number of moves where he's going to try to drop the defender, so to speak, not in any kind of exaggerated way. In fact, when you hear him in an interview, he almost you can tell his philosophy is he doesn't like watching players who do a bunch of moves and don't make any progress
Yeah.
as far as better positioning or better balance into a shot. I don't think he likes flashy moves. And he played.
He most likely thinks it's bullshit that what they're doing, right? No disrespect to any of those players, but he's more of a, he knows in this era specifically, you got to get to the point, especially in professional basketball. He hit the way the rules are set up, you can't really play too much. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, like he had a little, that crossover was kind of hot, but yeah, he's the type of guy. He's like gonna get to the money. You know what I mean? Basic basketball, but effective basketball fundamentals. Oscar looked like he didn't play around.
Very vanilla and calculated and under control.
Like
he's
Tim
also
Duncan,
a good change of
right?
pace player, which is like Luka Doncic is a change of pace player. Although
Like a point guard version of Tim Duncan.
Luka puts flair on his game, Oscar take away the flair, so he's like a Tim Duncan of point guards, so to speak.
See, you think of the same shit.
But change of pace and strong and big, like Luka.
Matchups that you just described that would have whipped everybody, and that was Oscar Robertson.
This is a good example
Man,
of
that he's
Fred Carter,
smothered.
a player who got kind of
He
bodied
low-
by
he was in
Oscar
that
in
base,
I think it was 1971 NBA playoffs, Bucks versus Bullets. Fred is an athletic guard. Fred is a great shooter. I think he's like 6'3", decently strong, decently quick, and a great athlete. And Oscar dwarfs him. And Oscar way outmuscles him the whole series. There's a few clips in here that I'm playing. And
I wonder how big Oscar
this
was
is so
in his
frustrating
prime.
what happens here on this shot. And this is an example of what Oscar was like.
In
First
the
off,
60s.
Oscar is not under duress at all. And, Fred's decent
Have whipped everybody.
defensive player, reaching,
Yeah, he
and
there.
trying to do his thing to prevent Oscar from getting to his spot. But that's the thing, Oscar's so strong, you can't.
Yeah. Oscar the type of dude, that's that old man game. Oscar the type of dude, he gonna keep backing you in. It's funny.
Really
Because I can
prevent him from getting to his
imagine
spot.
like your
That was
dad
Oscar
like
Robertson.
taking you in the
And
yard.
then Oscar always did this. He'll show you the ball. So he gets
You
Fred
wait
up.
for him to come down. Look
Fred
at that.
might be thinking, I got it.
He's
I got my
all
hands
over.
on the ball. Oscar has a super strong grip on the ball. And he just
got
waits
his
for Fred to
hand
be on
on
the way
the
down.
rock.
And then he goes up to shoot it.
Really?
You gotta be
was
strong.
awesome.
No problem.
Hold on. Bro, this man was
On the
strong
ball?
as hell.
And he's-
Oscar, you don't see your strong ass now. Bro, he is strong. Whew.
He just waits for Fred to be on the way down. And then he goes up to shoot it.
Really? Oscar was awesome.
No problem. Again, he's
Yeah,
Fred
he's
Carter
strong,
again.
bro.
People forget about it.
Getting dragged. Oscar just gets to his spot no matter
he's,
what.
he's strong. That's grown.
And
He
Oscar
got body.
doesn't use his off arm like today's
No,
players.
that man got body.
So that's another thing. Today's players always use their off arm.
Oscar's
In this
strong
era,
as
you
shit,
could not. You would get whistled for a charge if you used your off arm.
Awesome. And
Oh my God.
people forget
Man.
about
Gets to his
A
spot.
lot of film
Yeah.
of him, but
Good
Oscar.
Nice little drop off.
Who did Jordan tell you is the greatest player ever? He would say Oscar Robertson. In Oscar's time, he was.
Just to round that out a little bit, here's Oscar in college. Another attribute that was unique to Oscar was he was NBA ready right away. Back then, obviously, players played till their fourth year of college, so it's not like he was 18, but he was very mature and well-developed, even as an 18-year-old. By the way, I have Chris Kazanik's footage of his, and incredible
need
player
that.
even back then.
We need that.
But unlike Jerry says he needed a little bit of adjustment time when he first came into the league. Oscar needed no adjustment time at all. Oscar looked like he was in charge out there on the floor right away. Not a typical rookie. Wilt was like that. So
Yeah,
Oscar
Wilt
was
was
like that too.
grown man shit.
Not a typical
MVP
rookie.
is rookie year.
Here's some footage of him in college. A great footwork into a left-hand hook. Now this is common back then, by the way, and this makes people cringe today. A lot of players
He
back
shifted
then
him though.
go
Yeah,
left
that one hand.
while dribbling with their right hand. And usually, I've watched it enough times. First off, they know how to go left. They know how to go right. They, like every move and counter move that they can do right, they can do left. They don't always implement it. It's player dependent on how much they use it. Another interesting thing about, I would say, both Oscar and Jerry is that they're very right-hand dominant while dribbling. But they can both go left and score going left and have a number of counters that make you pay if you basically reach or get yourself off balance trying to force them in that direction. This is one of the inside-out dribbles that was common back then that both Oscar and Jerry did.
Psych. Got you a little slower. Pop.
Just to sort of show, I mean, they had a number of counters for this, but as soon as it looks like his defensive stance is basically like, hey, go this way, I've got my foot out here.
I ain't gonna lie, that's bad defense.
Make it like he's gonna act like he's gonna make him go this way. Oscar pulls it right back. And he probably knew he was going to do that from the start. Not a great defensive play, but it doesn't matter. He's very good at reading and reacting accordingly.
Yeah, he did
also,
nothing wrong. The defense
again, unorthodox shooter. I'll go back to his jump shot.
Good shit. And I'm not saying it as if the defense for that era was trash. I'm just talking about that defender. Like, we got defenders in this era and then the 2000s and 90s who were trash defensively.
Pretty far back over his head.
So it happens
and then
every
if you watch
year.
his offhand, his shooting hand is still in contact with the ball here, but his offhand is way out here. He's a one-handed shooter. By today's standard, where everybody's jump shot has now become uniform and they have a full follow-through, Oscar has a follow-through that's about there. So does Jerry, by the way. They both have what I would consider a great mid-range follow-through. I actually personally think, from my own personal experience, for mid-range shots, a full follow-through almost feels weird and unorthodox to me. I think it feels a little more natural if I go deep. And these guys, both Jerry and Oscar, they weren't deep shooters. There's no point. It's three.
Yeah.
There's no three-point shot. Everything's two. So actually, the smartest play is to get in as close as you can for a well-balanced shot with a soft touch, so long as you're not so deep that the defense is already there and waiting for you. He has a decent follow-through, and Oscar kind of pops his wrist back on his shots a lot. He does that more often than Jerry. Jerry does it sometimes too, but
Jerry's
Oscar's
release
shot,
is quick.
I think it is a pretty shot, but a lot of people
It's like
today might say, no, they think that's ugly. Like, they don't like it. But his shot is basically a well-calibrated shot for that range. And it was one of the best shots, along with Jerry West. If you ask players like Bill Russell, the two best shooters in the game are Oscar and Jerry. It's not a free throw percentage thing. It's not even a field goal percentage thing. It's a dynamic thing. Who can create and make shots on demand? Oscar and Jerry
And
were
that's
the two
what
best at
basketball's
it in that
about,
era.
man. All this other bullshit, I don't know what they're trying to do. But that's what basketball is about. Can you make the shots when you need them?
And then there's a number of guys that you could argue were very effective at it as well, like Sam Jones, Hal Greer,
Stop your
etc.
man and make the shots when they count.
Oscar and Jerry, 1A and 1B. And again, it's free throw.
Push shot.
You can see that off arm, totally out of use.
Yeah, usually.
And you can see his
Now, I
follow
will say
through.
this: it's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy because the way I was taught is you use that hand, that support hand, and you put it on the ball to kind of keep the ball aimed and steady, right? To hold it, to balance it, so for the release. He doesn't really need that.
And how his arm comes back.
He's just shooting one
Follow
handed.
through, arm comes back. 84% free throw shooter. So you can say it's terrible if you want to get picky about it, because it doesn't look like how people shoot today. But he was 84% with that shot. So I'm not one of those people who's like a shot form snob. I think the best shooting form is the shooting form
The one that goes in.
works for a given player. And when I say a given player, I mean people who are serious about basketball. Oscar was very serious about basketball. I don't think you're going to get in there and re-engineer his shot and do better. I think Oscar understood how to get the best out of his shooting ability.
Nah, he don't need fixing. He just
nice fake right.
He just played in
that
area.
Left, drives into the teeth of the defense, gets fouled. Classic play.
Good strong drive.
Okay, here's more of that bully ball.
Damn.
This is against Dick Barnett, I believe.
Yo.
No off arm by comparison to how today's players play. And he just trucks him. I mean, this is why Oscar was so hard when he got in there. Super powerful player.
Yeah, once you get that head of steam, you gotta hedge him hard. Well, he's not coming off a pick right there, but you gotta hedge him hard to slow him up.
McCann just trucks his way inside. This is a highlight from a New York Knicks game now, by the way. Step through the legal way.
Okay. A little fast break.
Good at just any kind of shot. Good at finishing, good at transition, good at half-court set.
Yeah, he's
half-court sets, really good pick-and-roll player.
Heads up.
Eyes are always up. He initiates offense basically from anywhere on the floor. That's what's unique about Oscar. He could be anywhere. He'll find his teammates anywhere, anytime. Like, great. Like, who would even think to throw that pass? He had to have looked and made sure that the defense had its head turned.
Good pass.
And change of pace. Really good change of pace player.
He put it on the floor.
I would say his strength is changing.
And he changed directions.
Just like he did there again. And also deceptively good at jumping. He was a high jumper. I actually have footage.
Just a little agility with that power, though.
But he was a high jumper in high school. And sort of right here will show, gets up and blocks a shot with his fingertips. He's got the ball basically
he barely touched it.
Right at the top of the square there.
Damn.
So, deceptively good at jumping. He always played below the rim. I don't think he ever dunked.
That ain't goaltending. I think that's
it's by choice. His whole playing style is very minimalist.
Yeah, he's
in the sense that he'll do the most effective thing possible with the fewest amount of movement and motion. Oscar is like, I'm not here to entertain the crowd. I'm here to win basketball games and pressure the other team into losing. And he played, I think his coach even mentioned at one point, because Oscar could do all the Globetrotter things, all the movements, they were popular at the time. And I think his coach left an impression on him to steer away from that stuff when you're out there performing and playing serious basketball. And I think that stuck with him. So again, just to recap on Oscar, very big, 6'6", roughly, he's the size of modern 6'6" players, 220 pounds, very heavy. Didn't lift weights, just naturally very strong, very wide body, great change of pace player, just tremendous IQ, always keeps his eyes up and initiates offense and plays aggressive anywhere on the floor. Finds the right pass to make, always looking for people to turn their heads and make mistakes, and he punishes mistakes. Jerry, different. Similar in one way and different in a number of others. Jerry is similar in that he also is not flashy. There are players back then, even in the 1960s, even before Pete Maravich, there are players who were very flashy, very crowd-pleasing. Like Earl Monroe, for example.
The Pearl.
Throw a bunch of extra fakes in. Bob Cousy was. Bob Cousy was a showman
Yeah.
from the 50s into the early 60s. Oscar and Jerry are not like that. And a number of even guys who people would consider role players played that way, where they'll do like extra spin on the pass and make it look amazing, and not Jerry and not Oscar. Also, one of the similarities is I think they're about the same height, even though they are listed at, look at all these pictures where they're standing next to each other.
Mm-hmm. Jerry
Olympics
West was a big
here,
dude.
and 1960 NBA All-Star game here. So Oscar, 6'6", 6'4" 3/4 barefoot. Like if we're being very factual, but that's the same height as like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. It's the same height. Jerry claims he's 6'4.5" in interviews.
Yeah,
I believe
he's a big dude.
I believe he is underbilled throughout his NBA career.
Yeah.
He seems a lot taller than what he is listed. And most of the material I've ever been able to look up. Obviously,
I think so
deceptive
too.
picture.
I agree with you because I see Jerry stand behind some guys who are like at least 6'5", 6'6", and be like head to head with them, just like you see in this picture with Oscar. Jerry's a big dude, hands big, all that.
And what have you. But again, just looking at the majority of pictures that I've ever seen, he is basically the same height as other players who were listed 6'5" or better in his own era. But different than Oscar is, Jerry West never weighed more than 190 pounds. I think he entered the league at 175, and later in his career, he played at about 188. So basically 190. Naturally slim.
Yeah.
Whereas Oscar was naturally very strong. So Jerry was very quick though. Long arms, 6'9" arm span, very great defensive player, and built his game around his jump shot. His jump shot is super
money.
It's gorgeous, and it is. His jump shot is amazing to watch. It is so fast, it is so quick, and his form is so good. I think he's got the best mid-range form of any shooter I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he's so quick. And his whole game is built around that. Oscar can get wherever he wants to go because he's changing pace and he's super strong and his eyes are always up, so he's always looking to pass, so he's always a threat. Jerry is super effective because you cannot get away from him at all if he's going to get the ball in his hands or if he already has the ball in his hands. If you get away from, if you're not under his shirt to contest his pull-up jump shot,
it's money time.
You're in trouble.
See, Jerry was different, man. Jerry, any type of separation, any type of separation, and his shit is quick.
Because you have to play him so close and so honest, he can burn you on. He can burn you because he can always get around
40
you
or 50
and get a step on you.
The element of surprise is always with the offensive player. The
True.
defensive player never knows when you're going to shoot.
Effortless looking and so quick. And it's effortless.
Everyone, competitive people, the word dog comes up a lot. That guy's a dog. That guy, well, I was a wolf. Okay? I used to eat dogs.
Jerry crazy.
Jerry West
One dribble.
Jerry West was so good, Richard Pryor used to make jokes about him on record. He said, Jerry West give you 40. He said he'd be out there destroying you. Right? Jerry West was giving people 40 a night.
And a lot of people say Larry Bird is the baddest white boy. Well, we got to throw Jerry in there too. Jerry was bad as hell. A lot of people underrate Jerry West, but Jerry West was, when we talk about, best players of all time, man. We didn't mention his name, man.
Very clutch, by the way. Nickname Mr.
Respect
Clutch.
on the logo, man. Yeah, he's out of here. Look how quick that shit.
The more pressure, the better Jerry performed.
Look at this. Mr. Clutch. Hey.
You can see that coming. You know he's not getting through.
Yeah.
23-foot jumper.
That's where Kobe got that shit from.
West dribbling with 8 on the timer. West with 7 with 6. West with 5
pull
with
up.
48-foot jumper. Good! That's all the way. West scores it.
Yeah, give me that. I play defense too.
He's got 46 points a game in the first playoff.
Kind of a soft
And it's
dunk.
a pleasure to be talking to my old
Oh, the head fake.
Jerry West.
Those players at that era and
Unforgiving rims back then.
Right,
Some
his
of the
shit
rebounds.
is
difference
quick.
in athleticism.
Give me that.
My era, I was an athlete way before.
Similar to Oscar, very good
Give me that
jumper.
shit. Give me that.
Probably no one
could touch
somebody's
16
getting
inches above the
shifty.
rim when he first entered the league.
Somebody's getting shifty.
He's probably not quite doing it there. He's like 35 in that footage.
Way before my time. I had a huge vertical. Probably no one in the league was much faster than me. And certainly the competitive part of it, I would put myself among any player that played the game today also.
In this ball game, Jerry was 19 for 27 from the floor. That's 71%. And he also made 45 points. Jerry, when you're shooting like that, you want the ball.
He certainly do, Chip. And I say, not many nights can you shoot that well.
He waved them off.
I think especially get that many shots. Boston's a very fine team.
Hey, look.
And many times
Jerry waved their ass off.
We're going mostly passing. And this
Hold on. Go back. We gotta see that.
Myself among any player that played the game today.
Watch Jerry wave them off.
Also.
In this ball game, Jerry was 19 for 27 from the floor. That's 71%. And he also made 45 points. Jerry, when you're shooting like that, you want the ball, don't you?
You certainly do, Chip. And I say, not many nights can
Watch
you
away
shoot
from
that well.
Get out of my way.
I think especially get that many shots. Boston's a very fine team.
Yeah.
And many times in the ball game, which are running type of game, we're going mostly passing. In this ball game, we ran.
They can't hold me.
It was a good night.
They try to
Why didn't get more shots blocked? Is that he'd come down and he'd
They kind of guard him like Steph Curry a little bit.
The last dribble he'd take would be a real hard dribble, and it would drive right up to the shot. He never would dribble, catch, and shoot. You'd never see Jerry West do that.
That jump shot was beautiful.
That part that was Daryl Imhoff talking. That part that he said there is very important, especially in the palms down dribbling era, right? Again, people like to rip on that era because they don't cradle the ball and do a hesitation and like change direction really aggressive because they weren't allowed to. So it kind of looks funny sometimes. But Jerry West had a great ace up his sleeve that facilitated his pull-up jumper. And I believe he was the only player back then who was doing that. And he might have been the only player in history who was doing that.
Yeah.
Where he would give his last dribble an extra hard dribble that would put that ball right up on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Right in, like I'm doing it in two motions, but like puts the ball right up on his shoulder and into the shot.
Yeah, Kobe stole that. He would use that sometimes. He didn't use it as much as Jerry though. That's Jerry's shit. Jerry was doing that shit like every game. But yeah, he used to, back when I was studying Jerry, we always, I used to remember studying that about 2 hard rhythm drills, boom, boom, boom.
I mean, it makes his jumper remarkably quick. It's remarkable. Let's see if there's a good angle where I can show that to you.
Ooh, from the crowd.
Fade away.
Okay, this is probably going to be one. So look here. The last dribble, ball is right.
Get into a spot. He got Celtics colliding.
Ball is right here. He doesn't have to pick it up and gather it. It's straight into the shot.
And he might have got fouled too.
Right off the dribble.
Pulling. Yeah, it looked like he got fouled too, or did he miss? He may have got hacked on that.
Yeah. So basically, he was already
he's shooting
down,
over 2 or 3
and that hard
people
dribble
too.
brought that ball naturally to that position, straight up into the shot. And Bill Russell's got no chance. Nobody's got a chance.
Bill
Best
Russell ain't
defensive
even
player,
positioned through shit about
perhaps
that.
in history. Nope. And
He just got
one of the
shut.
best defensive forwards, Satch Sanders, and Casey Jones are. I mean, it's the 3 best defenders, 3 of the best defenders in the league at the time,
Kobe.
and 3 of the best defenders in history, right in front of them.
Kobe
and they've
Jordan.
got no chance.
Boom. That's the lineage right there. Yup. Bam.
Well, that's right. I think any player who has...
Okay, you want to step up? Big shot. Off glass.
Dave
He's
DeBusschere,
swiping. He's
another
scared.
great defensive
Mismatch.
player.
Got him.
You have to respect that jump shot so much.
He was
This is
scared.
how we can get
He
past
ain't
it.
used to being on
Look
that
at
island.
Double team.
Yeah.
Double team.
Definitely give me a...
There's some
Double
physical
team.
post defense. Who's that remind you of? That's like Michael Jordan, Kobe.
Respect it. Have the check on him. Kick
Crossover.
Dishes
it off the rope.
Yeah. No, that won't have a check.
This game is totally
No, that won't have a
built
check. That was
the effectiveness of that pull-up jump shot. He's good at a number of those other things that Oscar is also good at. It's not like he's deficient at court vision. You know, He might not be as good at
He had to be a
Oscar
Laker
as
back then, must have been crazy.
It's really that pull-up jump shot it's what his game is built on.
It's authentic.
Just to round out what a good shooter he is, take a look at this footage.
Bang.
Doesn't even touch the rim. Makes the rim look massive.
Legendary.
He's got such a good touch.
Rhythm dribble. That's a pro right there. Yeah, swish.
Like, really great form. Best mid-range form I think I've ever seen.
I would agree. I think I have to agree. I ain't gonna lie. Because usually I might find somebody else.
Each time I move up, it gets a
be
little
able to
bit
think
easier.
of somebody else, but I can't.
When I get to right here as
I
a
think
shooter,
you might be right.
that's about the limit of my range. From there, I start throwing the basketball. And I start doing the one thing that most shooters always do. They start moving their head to the side because they're getting a weight to it.
Okay, interesting bit here. He's actually talking about, at the time, and this is his whole lifetime building up to this, what he worked on and what makes sense as far as basketball, what you practice, what you try to get good at. He's saying his range is right at about the top of the key, which is inside the modern three-point line, as you guys know. A lot of people are like, what would Jerry shoot if he had a three-point percentage? Well, the time-traveled version of Jerry is not going to shoot very well by default from three-point range.
Yeah, we don't know.
If you allow Jerry time to adjust and understand that there's now a line that heavily favors an extra scoring opportunity, he'll probably work on it and build it.
I honestly don't think it would take him that long, considering the fact he played in the 70s. So I don't think it would take him that long to figure it out. Just like everybody else had to figure it out and adjust who came in the NBA after that. So,
but as he came, he's not in three-point range as he was. His jump shot range was about 20 feet or something of that in that ballpark, about 20 feet, which is why he doesn't have like that modern follow through, and he's not hoisting the ball. It's one of the reasons his jump shot is so quick though. His conversations that come up like, who's the greatest shooter of all time? And I'm like, how do you qualify that question? If you go by like, well, they have to have a certain shooting percentage from free throw, they have to have a certain shooting percentage from three-point range, and a number of things, you're playing basketball on a piece of paper like that. And the rules change so much between each decade, even sometimes each half decade, that it's apples and oranges. And even percentages don't translate from one decade to another. So I'm not satisfied with that answer. Just look.
And I like to tell the people who listen to me. I always ask that question: how is such and such defended? Right? Because people bring up percentages. Okay, how is this player defended? What era was this player in? Right? And it's not just Kobe. It's just in basketball in general. If you want to give an honest depiction about that player, you're not just going to say some things that might favor another era or favor another player. Like if the rules are beneficial to scoring, why are you bringing up the higher percentage? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Like that this was a harder era to score in. The rules were more stricter. So the comparisons, it's like almost impossible to compare. And so if you want to have a genuine conversation, then we can kind of talk about the ability, right? And that's what I've talked about, the shooting ability of these guys. What can they do as opposed to percentage? No, what was their game, right? And their game is something they do often and something that also contributed in winning.
Look at the way Jerry has polished his shot.
Pretty much strengths and weaknesses.
You
could judge all players by strengths and weaknesses. It transfers across all eras.
One of the greatest shooters that ever played NBA basketball. But he'll never get discussed anymore because he's not on the three-point list. And in fact, he's even here admitting, I shot 20 feet. And he did. He shot 20 feet and in. So people aren't even going to watch old footage and say, boy, he would have been a great three-point shooter. Some will. I mean, it's reasonable to assume if this was something that was in front of him and he developed into it, he would have been one of the great ones. But it's not even about what raw numbers are. It's about his ability to create shots, the gravity he was to the other team, pulling their defense away and basically making them panic anytime they had to guard him. I mean, Jerry West, you could see it in the footage. Like, the defense panics when the ball is in Jerry's hand, especially in late game situations. I mean,
you see oh shit.
He is.
That's that look.
What a
fuck the percentage.
What a weapon to build around. About an 81.5% free throw shooter. Oscar was an 84% free throw shooter. So they're decent free throw shooters. They're not in the 90% club, and doesn't matter. I think they're better. I think Jerry in particular is better than a lot of, as a shooter, he's a better shooter than a lot of players who are like, oh, I shot over 90% free throw, whatever. Jerry is a really gifted, not gifted, he worked on it. Really skilled. Gifted and skilled. It's hard work that paid off. He's a great pull-up jump shooter. So shooting in the field, dynamic. He's a great dynamic shooter. Like Michael Jordan was, Larry Bird, etc. Only very strong emphasis on the pull-up jumper for Jerry. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And if you like this kind of stuff and want to see more where I dip into my archive and just try to add a little bit of context about what I'm watching and what these players were capable of back then and how that might translate to today, like and subscribe, and I will get more content like this out for you.
A couple of point guards that weren't too shabby. My colleague also had an award created by Oscar Robertson, who was pound for pound the best player perhaps in the game.
Just straight
Argue with my opinion. I actually think you would dominate Michael in one-on-one.
I think there's one person that should be in those matchups that you just described that would have whipped everybody, and that was Oscar Robertson.
Really?
Oh, Oscar was awesome. And people forget about him because there's not a lot of film with him, but Oscar was awesome.
Who did Jordan tell you the greatest player?
He would say Oscar Robertson.
In Oscar's time,
that's awesome.
The element of surprise is always with the offensive player. The defensive player never knows when you're going to shoot.
And everyone, competitive people, the word dog comes up. That's a shoe guy's a dog. I was a wolf. Okay. I used to eat dogs.
Los Angeles Lakers red-hot sharpshooter from West Virginia.
Jerry West was playing. Jerry West was so good, Richard Pryor used to make jokes about him on record. He said, Jerry West give you 40. He said he'd be out there destroying you. Right? Jerry West was giving people 40 a night.
Big facts. He put the ball on the floor and made it, and he thought he was going to drive, and then he pulled it up. Head fake, pull up.
23-foot jumper.
Yes.
4-point lead. West dribbling with 8.
He's chewing the gum, a little arrogant too.
West with 5 and 48-foot jumper. That's all the way. West scores it.
He's averaged 46 points a game in the first playoff game, and it's a pleasure to be talking to my old Anthem coach club buddy, Jerry West.
Those players at that era, and again, that was when I started to see the difference in athleticism. You know, my era, I was an athlete way before my time. I had a huge vertical.
Defense. I wonder how many first team defensive things he would have made.
And certainly the competitive part of it, I would define myself among any player that played the game today also.
In this ball game, Jerry was 19 for 27 from the floor. That's 71%. And he also made 45 points this season. When you're shooting like that, you want the ball, don't you?
You certainly do, Chip. And I say, not many nights can you shoot that well from the floor. And I think especially get that many shots. Boston's a very fine team. And many times in the ball game, where it's a running type of game, you're doing mostly passing. In this ball game, we ran, and I got a lot of shots, so it was a good night.
Well, he didn't get more shots blocked. Is that he'd come down and that last dribble he would take. If you ever watch tapes of Jerry West, the last dribble he would take would be a real hard dribble, and it would drive right up to the shot. He never would dribble, catch, and shoot. I've never seen Jerry West.
Got your bounce pass, Jerry West. And the ooh from the crowd. The great shooter, Jerry West, unloaded.
It wasn't too long ago that before you were getting your start in basketball on a backyard brick court in Chelan, West Virginia.
Well, that's right. I think any player who has any aspirations of becoming a professional player should start early, and I know that I had a tremendous desire to play basketball, and I feel that that definitely gives me an advantage to become a professional player.
So, I'm gonna say this. It's so interesting, like, and I see why he, this is a pastime of his. Because like these guys are so good, and to see them not really get the praise and the adulation that they probably should get, and also like to have your hands on some of this footage is like priceless, right? It's fun, like collecting the items and knowing which year, you know, certain players are doing certain things, and the difference between styles, and then the evolution of the game, how it came from what it is today. And you can see a little bit of some of the players' games in it, in today's game, some of their games for the past in theirs. Like for example, with Elgin Baylor, you can see he used the rocker step, and then you can see Kobe and Jordan using that same rocker step, right? Using the pull-ups to win championships, using some of the things that these guys use that they learned from watching a lot of film and or being taught the game by different players or whatever. But it's definitely interesting. You can't forget about the legends of the past. You always got to remember them. This is what legacy is all about. Legacy is for when you're not here too, that we remember these people. So don't think because they're not playing anymore. Why we gotta keep talking about them? Because they're legends, and legends live forever, and that's what they play for, to be remembered. Their name is in the history books forever. And so it doesn't mean you have to always compare the eras, but you can admire them. But this was a great video by the Wilt Chamberlain Archive. Man, Dan is doing great work over there. Remember to subscribe to his content. Also subscribe to Kobe Bryant Film Room as I cover Kobe, so people won't forget about him. And he's recent history, and they're trying to erase him from the book. So subscribe to my content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and also check out JB's video on Behind the Bench Sports Network. I might do a reaction to that video. Matter of fact, as I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days. It's basically a Laker history. It's a Laker history analysis, and so I think I'm gonna end up doing that in the near future. But anyways, this is Kobe Bryant Film Room. Hope you enjoyed the content. Hope you enjoyed my reaction. And